Hi everyone, welcome to this set of practice questions as we do every week, and the questions for this set are mainly based on the civil rebellions and uprisings that we have discussed in the lessons so far, and of course some other questions on certain revolts etc. which we may not have discussed, but these questions will serve as pointers and you can actually acquire some new knowledge through these questions. The first question. The names Majnu Shah, Musa Shah and Bhavani Pathak are associated with, and you had to choose the correct rebellion or revolt. Your options were the Bundela Uprising, the Sannyasi Fakir Rebellion, the Banaras Rebellion and the Revolt of Katta Boman. The correct answer is B, the Sannyasi Fakir Rebellion. This is a straightforward question, not much explanation required. The second question, which term best describes the Paikas of Orissa? And पाइका रिबेलियन बहुत मुख्यात हुआ था, बहुत फेमस है, तो आपको इसके डिटेल्स भी पता होने चाहिए. एंड इनफैक्ट इन द प्रीवियस लेसन वी डिड कवर दिस इन डिटेल, सो मेक श्योर दैट यू गो थ्रू इट. द ऑप्शंस आर लैंड ओनर मिलिशिया, peasant militia, nomadic tribesmen, none of the above. So you basically had to choose कि इनमें से कौन सा term उनको सबसे बेहतर describe करता है. Your correct answer here, not yours, I mean, the correct answer here is peasant militia. And if you remember, there was this particular characteristic about Paikas that during peacetime they were cultivators, peasants, and otherwise they used to be part of the army. That's why peasant militia. The third question, Velu Thampi Dalava was the Diwan of, and Velu Thampi's revolt also we read about in one of the lessons. Options are Travancore, Madurai, Machilipatnam or Masulipatnam. The correct answer is A, Travancore. The fourth question, the Commission on Inquiry for the Paika Rebellion was headed by, your options are Woodhead, Sargent, Ewer and Hunter. And the correct answer here is C, Ewer, the full name being Walter Ewer. And if you remember, we mentioned why this report and this commission was very interesting, because normally, it was expected that when the administration was setting up a commission of inquiry, how independent it would be or how transparent it would be in notifying the reasons for any kind of problems that were occurring and, what were the reasons for rebellion. They may not expose certain maladministration of the British, as was the case. However, this particular commission did do so, and it was very transparent and clear in pointing out the reasons for the Paika rebellion. Aside from the correct answer here, please make sure that you, and in fact, this applies to all the questions that you attempt, whether in this set or otherwise in your mock test. जो ऑप्शंस देते हैं उनमें से फिर आगे के क्वेश्चंस बन जाते हैं अक्सर, in the forthcoming years. So like for example, I'll tell you Woodhead, Sargent or even Hunter, these were all the people associated with certain commissions for certain issues. It could have been education, could have been famine and drought, or could have even been a massacre. तो आप जानिए और कोशिश कीजिए इनके बारे में जानने की कि ये वाले जो लोग थे ये किन कमीशंस को हेड कर रहे थे, एंड यू कैन मेंशन दैट इन द कमेंट्स. The fifth question, the Sambhalpur rebellion arose following the succession of whom to the Gaddi of Sambhalpur, the throne of Sambhalpur. Your options are Surendra Sai, Mohan Kumari, Maharaja Sai, none of the above. Now interestingly, all three people were involved in one way or another, but the correct answer to this question, because it categorically asks you following the succession of whom. तो हुआ यूं था that when Maharaja Sai died, then the British favored the succession of his widow Mohan Kumari to the throne of Sambhalpur. And as I've mentioned in one of the previous lessons, the norm at that time in Sambhalpur and these areas was not that a woman would rule. And secondly, her rule was found to be defective as well, and the people were not very happy with it. But she had the support of the British, so once she came to the throne, Mohan Kumari, that is when Surendra Sai, who was taking a claim to Maharaja Sai's throne, he led this rebellion and a lot of people came to his support. Surendra Sai, he was not the son or any direct descendant of Maharaja Sai, but he was related, and he was part of the line that could lay a claim to the throne of Sambalpur. So the right answer here is B. So therefore read the question very carefully. You might get confused when you see Sambalpur and you see these names, because you will be like all three are associated with it. But you need to see कि अच्छा सवाल में पूछा क्या गया है कि किनका सक्सेशन हुआ जिसके बाद रिवोल्ट हुआ, तो मोहन कुमारी. The sixth question, the revolt against Devisingh in Bengal was led by options Raja Chet Singh, B. Jai Rajguru, C. Surendra Sai, D. Dheeraj Narayan. The right answer is D. Dheeraj Narayan. The seventh question, Veer Pandiya Kattaboman was the ruler of, your options are Panchalan Kurichi, Tiruchirappalli, Cochin or Hampi. The correct answer is A. Panchalan Kurichi. Acha, not just knowing the name of the place or the region is enough. You should also try to know the present name or the state in which this particular place is. So in this case, Panchalan Kurichi is in Tamil Nadu. Eighth question. The Pagal Panthis revolt in the Mymensingh region of Bengal was led by, your options are Siya Sahib Bakshi Jagbandhu, Haji Sarayatullah Dadu Mian, Karam Shah and Tipu. None of the above. The right answer is C. Karam Shah and Tipu. The Faresi movement was for the cause of, options are religious reform, tenets, both A and B, and none of the above. The right answer is C, both A and B. तो एक तरफ तो बात ये थी that people should give up on un-Islamic practices, and there was an attempt to send back the British and the English from, intervening in internal affairs, and for the cause of tenants vis-a-vis landholders or the landlords who were there. The last question, who is considered to be the founder of Subaltern history for India? Your options are Kathleen Gough, Sumit Sarkar, Ranajit Guha, none of the above. The right answer is C, Ranajit Guha. But before we close, what is subaltern history? So this is just an approach to the study of history. Subaltern का मतलब ये होता है that there was an attempt by a set of scholars and historians, especially when we're talking about India. तो Indian history, modern Indian history को लिखते time, their attempt was that there were certain voices of the marginalized or other people that had completely been overlooked or had not even been taken into account when writing the history of India. So when these people, they realize, so for example Ranajit Guha, he has written elementary aspects of peasant insurgency in colonial India. So he wrote from the perspective and whatever the peasants went through and what their perspective on the whole thing was in colonial India. They write a lot about the colonial and post-colonial period, the scholars associated with the Subaltern school for the study of history. And similarly, there are various subsets to this. There could be people writing from the perspective of women as an oppressed class or from the caste perspective, and so on and so forth. So the right answer is C. So I hope this was useful for you. If you have any other questions or suggestions, please feel free to mention them in the comments. Thank you.